Hi, this is Frank Taylor with Nature at Your Door, and I'm in Saas Fee, Switzerland. And I thought I'd begin my episode on marmots here at this fantastic apartment. Saas Fee is a beautiful village, and I rented this apartment from Blaise, and I want to do a shout out for him because his apartment was just fantastic. It's in such a great location near the Alpine Express, the lifts, near the downtown and grocery stores and bars. It's just a beautiful, beautiful apartment inside and out with a great locations. But today's video is going to be about marmots. And let's start this episode all about the marmots. Alpine marmots are an absolutely beloved species in Switzerland. I find this a contradiction to the other Marmota species that I know well after living here in rural Virginia for 30 years. And here in Virginia, this species of Marmota, known as groundhogs or whistle pigs, are held in disregard, are regarded as pests, and often shot by farmers as a nuisance to cattle grazing in their fields. Here in Switzerland, they're revered, they're protected, and are really a part of the natural alpine scenery that you'll see on a hike in the Swiss Alps. Here in Saas Fee, tourists are encouraged to take the lift up to Spielboden, which is at 2,448 meters, or about 8,000 feet above sea level. And just to give you a little perspective, there's a great little restaurant here, high up, about probably 8,000, 3,000 meters. I'm not exactly sure. And you can see the network of trails below me. And up here is the Fee Glacier. They're skiing throughout the year. And again, I gotta emphasize that we're surrounded by 4,000 meter peaks, over 13,000 feet, many of which I've climbed over the last 15 years or so. They have an informative Marmot trail that you're encouraged to take, especially for kids. And people here are encouraged to bring carrots, and lacking carrots, they'll sell you peanuts to feed the marmots as well. I'm not an advocate of feeding wildlife as a rule, but here the marmots at Spielboden appear to be in a petting zoo without walls, so we say. In all the local gift shops, you can find marmot cuddle toys, stuffed animals, and they seem that these Swiss marmots can be almost considered to be one of several unofficial symbols of Switzerland. I found it fascinating when I realized that marmots are actually a member of the squirrel family and are considered to be, well, large squirrels. There are 15 species of marmots that live around the world, mostly in these mountain habitats. And this particular species of Alpine marmot that lives in Switzerland and Central Europe is called Marmota. Here in Switzerland, they're found about 500 meters or 1,500 feet above the tree line, living in these alpine pastures full of wildflowers. They are mostly vegetarian, feeding on not just grasses, but selecting some of the wildflowers, leaves that have the greatest amount of nutrition and protein in them. As a mountain climber and hiker, I'll often see these marmots out in the distance in the meadows as I'm going higher and higher in this alpine environment. Outside of the Spielboden pseudo-petting zoo, I never get close to marmots when I'm out in the wild. They will keep their distance, and there's usually one marmot in a marmot group that keeps watch, standing on his feet, and he'll whistle a warning for the other marmots to quickly disappear into their underground burrows. Their burrows may be several meters deep and have intricate pathways interconnected that can be 20 or 30 meters long or more. Marmots appear to have friendly dispositions, and marmots in the same family will often greet each other with a nose-to-nose greeting. The monogamous family grouping often may include 15 to 20 individuals beside the breeding parent pair. Breeding females will often suppress the breeding of other females in that group. Within their families, marmots appear to be very playful, but if an individual outside of the family enters a territory, they'll be met with hostility and some apparently pretty ferocious fighting as well. Marmots will mark their territory by smearing a secretion from their cheek glands on rocks throughout their range. Marmots will come out to feed on the alpine vegetation and never seem to be far from an escape burrow or a place they can run and hide. Their goal in the summer is to fatten up as much as they can on the rich alpine vegetation and wildflowers. One of the really fascinating things to me about the marmot's life cycle is how much time they spend hibernating. Where they live, and I've been in these places, snow will come in as early as October, maybe mid-October to late October, and snow will stay on the ground in these alpine pastures, sometimes piling to 2 or 3 meters tall throughout the winter. And that snowpack doesn't melt until June, when these flowers will start to emerge and grasses will green up again. So the marmots will spend from 6 to even 9 months of their lifetime in hibernation. And when I say hibernation here, I mean true hibernation, where their body temperature will drop to near freezing, their heart rate will be down to 1 or 2 beats per minute, as well as their respiration rate. A family of marmots will go to a central location in their tuttle network, create a grass or hay straw-lined den. They'll plug the entrances to the burrows with hay and dirt and feces, and they'll stay in that grouping, huddled together, using each other for some thermal inertia to stay warm. So marmots will be living off their fat reserve for the 6 to 9 month period. If they didn't fatten up enough, if the winter goes too long, they can potentially die from starvation, essentially in their sleep, as they run out of energy. So it's very, very important for a marmot to really fatten up for the year. Many years ago, marmots were hunted almost to extinction because of the fact that they had so much fat in store. It made them a worthwhile wild game animal to hunt. Marmots, of course, are fantastic burrowers. Their front feet are very sharp. They also use their back feet, and they're able to dig these extensive burrows, sometimes in soil and rock that would be tough for a pickaxe to get through. But they're really, really great at designing and building these intricate network of burrows. I do lots of hiking and climbing in the Alps. One of my favorite places to go. Of course, you need to check out my Switzerland playlist for some of my adventure videos, as well as videos on natural history in the Alps. But it's always great to see these marmots out in the meadows. I often hear them, this very distinctive whistle, but a lot of times I will not be able to see them, but I always hear them. Well, I'm back at the apartment I'm renting from Blaise. I hope you enjoyed this episode about marmots. I think they're just fantastic little organisms. Remember, if you like what I do on this channel, please subscribe, give me a like, and I love hearing from my viewers. Leave me a comment if you can. And remember, I cover all things nature, from frogs, toads, snakes, turtles, the myriapoda, insects, trees, wildflowers, and fungi. I cover all the things you might encounter just outside your door. Thanks again for watching this episode of Nature at Your Door.